Hi guys, it's me again, and here's another video on the 10 most awkward movie moments. Number 10, The Ugly. Now, this is a very interesting horror movie. At first, I was bored beyond belief, and I was going to turn it off, but I like to give movies the benefit of the doubt sometimes, and I kept watching, and it turned out to be a fairly good movie for what it was, and how old it was and everything, but there were so many awkward moments in that movie, and one of the ones that was really awkward to me was when the killer, the main character, he goes into the house of this girl that he used to like when he was a child, and he kills her boyfriend, and she shows up. Right when he was, slitting his throat, she shows up, and she came back because she forgot her wallet. And so he totally almost got caught by her, and he almost killed her, too. But luckily, she didn't end up seeing him in her house. But she did see the guy that he just killed. And it was not her boyfriend. It turns out that was her brother. So that was super creepy, super awkward. He did not even end up needing to kill him. But he didn't care either when he found out it was just her brother.
Evil, no prison can contain. Between reality and illusion.
I killed him because I had to.
Between good and evil.
I won't leave long until I've done it.
Drama Pictures presents the film critics are calling the most daring debut since Reservoir Dogs.
Still want to hurt you, Karen?
Number 9, that would be Evil Dead 2. There's this part when it's towards the beginning, I think, and where he's in the woods or whatever, and I guess he's being possessed by the demon or whatever, and he's just sitting there going, ah, ah! And I'm just dude, what is he doing? So apparently he was being possessed by a demon or whatever, but the movie didn't really make that clear to me, and I had no idea, why he was freaking out and why he was looking all weird. So that was kind of strange. Number 7, Cemetery Man. If you haven't seen Cemetery Man, you totally need to check it out. It's a foreign film, but I love it. It's badass. If you like that kind of shit, which I do, I like those kind of crazy, old, kooky, macabre, weird horror films. I love them. That is one of the best. But one of the most awkward, there's a million awkward moments in that movie, but one of the most awkward moments in that movie is when the girl's motorcycle punk boyfriend dude comes back from the dead, and it looks like they're making out or something in the graveyard, and it turns out that he's totally chowing her down, and this guy comes to rescue her and stuff, and she says, "He's only eating me," and she didn't mean it like that. He was seriously, devouring her flesh, because he was a zombie dude. And, I'm really accepting and open-minded of others, but I know that I would not go for that. That's just kind of where I tend to draw the line as far as that goes.
Please don't. Don't be eating.
Who's that?
Mind your business. I shall be eaten by whoever I please.
This is my business. They'll pay me for it.
So, number 7, Far and Away, where Nicole Kidman's character looks under the bowl. Like Tom Cruise's character is laying naked in the bed. He had just gotten blown up by his own gun. It backfired on him because it was old and he hadn't had the intelligence to check it out first and do some practice firing before he decided to shoot his evil landlord guy. And so he's laying there naked in the bed with this bowl covering his junk, and she seriously, like, lifts it up and is all looking under it because she never saw a guy's thingy before. That was, like, really awkward, uncomfortable moment. Really freaked me out. So, I don't know if you guys remember it, but you should totally check that movie out. It's an awesome movie, Far and Away. But that moment was really, really weird. Okay, so moving on. Number 6, The Borrowers. That is a really totally awesome movie. I really love John Goodman, and the little boy that plays Pettigrew in that movie later went on to play Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter. Actor's name is Tom Felton. Unfortunately, in The Borrowers, there's this one really awkward moment where his character Pettigrew falls into poop for some reason. Like, I don't really recall the scene. I'm sure I can show a clip.
What happened?
She made me do it in the wardrobe.
Where is she? She's in the freezer.
Is that bad?
I don't think it could get much worse.
He gets smushed anyway into this, little pile of dog poop or whatever, and I guess that was supposed to be funny. You know what? I love toilet humor as much as the next person, but that was just weird. It was just not funny to me at all. It was just gross, and yeah. So anyway, moving on. Number 5, Lord of the Rings. Now, if I were to cover all of the awkward movie moments in the series of Lord of the Rings, I definitely wouldn't be able to do that in one video here. That would take several videos, seriously. Especially after I just watched the first movie of The Hobbit that just came out recently, which really makes me mad because apparently they're making like 3 different movies to cover The Hobbit. They want to capitalize. They want to make as much money as they can on this crap, and that really irritates me because it was one book. They made one movie for each of the books of Lord of the Rings, so why do they need to make like 3 movies just for The Hobbit? I understand it's a long book. I know. I've seen the cartoon when I was a child and read through the book, but whatever. Anyway, awkward movie moments, and I think that one of the ones that are most memorable for me is because it's at the very beginning. Like, I remember we sit down in the movie theater to watch The Fellowship of the Ring, and we're all so excited to see it. And there's Gandalf going along in his little cart of fireworks and everything, and he shows up and, meets up with Frodo, and they just, like, stare at each other because he says, "You're late," and he's like, "No, wizard's never late. He's always precisely on time," whatever. And they just, like, stare at each other forever.
You're late.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
don't know, man. I understand, I get what they were trying to do there, but it was just so weird. Like, I don't know. It didn't jive, right? It really didn't. It was awkward. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. Number 4, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Now, I understand this moment was supposed to be awkward, but it's definitely deserving on the list, because everyone will remember it that's seen the movie. Of course, I'm talking about the scene where Judge Reinhold's character is totally playing with himself in the bathroom to Phoebe Cates' character in the movie, and she walks in on him. That's just fantastic. That's like every young man's worst nightmare come true right there. Just fabulous. Love it. Number 3, Harry Potter.
That was really weird. You shall discover yourself the sight.
Can you turn around, Harry?
Harry Potter.
She must move a bit closer.
She wants to do this with me. My lips are getting chapped. Look, take your word for it. Oh?
Oh, Daddy, that was so awkward. What's that for? I'm in love with her.
Les drinks only speed almost with
Supposed to stroke it.
At least you're right, Ken, on level.
Tell us, Blindfold.
Now, just like with Lord of the Rings, I would have to totally make a separate video to cover everything in Harry Potter series, because there are a lot of, really, really awkward moments. But one of the ones that bugged the heck out of me the worst that I can think of at the moment, the first one is The Howler. There's like the scene where Ronald Weasley gets the note from his mom and is like, "How dare you steal that car?" And it's totally freaking out in front of everybody. But when that scene, like towards the end of that scene, when the letter like tears itself up and it's over, there's like this dead silence. And I understand that was the point or whatever, but it just made for a really awkward moment and scene transition when it goes to the next scene. And that's not the only thing. I wonder if that's one of the reasons that they switched to a different director. Now, I love Chris Columbus. I grew up watching his movies, and I thought he was a great director, but when I look at the Harry Potter series, the movie series, I can tell that it seems to go more smoothly in the movies after they got rid of Chris Columbus, unfortunately, because he directed like the first 2 films, and they are very, very awkward. The second scene that was totally awkward in the Chamber of Secrets was when there's the Cornish Pixies, Attack of the Cornish Pixies, that Professor Lockhart sets on the classroom, and Hermione does her spell to immobilize them and everything. Neville was hung up by the Pixies from the chandelier in the classroom, and the camera just goes to him and he's like, "Why is it always me?" And I understand, again, that was just, they were trying to be funny, but it really wasn't funny. It was stupid, and it made for a really awkward scene transition. Again, it was just weird. Moving on, top 10 most awkward movie moments. Number 2, Dead Poets Society. I am a huge fan of that movie. It's a really excellent film. If you haven't had a chance to see it yet, I highly suggest that you check it out. But there is just at least one moment in that movie that almost ruined it for me. Like, it was just so weird. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen that movie yet, I'm obviously going to talk about it. The part where Neil's character kills himself, he commits suicide, he shoots himself in the head in his dad's office with his dad's gun, and while his parents are sleeping, and the dad comes into the study because he's awakened by the noise, the gunshot, and he sees his son's body laying on the ground, and he's just like, no, like all slow motion, like really drawn out. And I understand, like, duh, that's how anyone would react. They'd freak the hell out if their child killed themselves like that. But that was really, really weird. I hope I can get a clip or something to show you what I'm talking about, because it was just weird. I don't think it was necessary to have that long, drawn out, slow motion, no, because it made it stupid. It took away from the moment. It killed that scene completely. Number 1 of the top 10 most awkward movie moments is The Company of Wolves. I love the tale of Little Red Riding Hood with the werewolves and everything. That's fun. The big bad wolf and all that. I'm not complaining that they've done it a million times. That's great that they've done it so many times. It's a cool story. But in this movie, this is one of my favorite movies. I got it on VHS, even though VHS is like totally not in anymore. I just haven't had the time or money to just get that on DVD yet. But if you check out The Company of Wolves, it's an excellent movie. I totally love it. But there's this one scene at the very, very end. You know the routine where, like, the wolf comes into Granny's house and he's gonna get her. And she tries to fight and all that. And he seriously, like, somehow hits her and, like, knocks off her head. And it goes flying across the room, okay? And it hits the fireplace mantle and it shatters. Like, and it looks like plaster. And I don't understand. Like, how in the world is the granny's head made out of plaster? And this is Angela Lansbury we're talking about. She played the granny. And oh my god, she did an excellent job. I love Angela Lansbury. I'm a huge fan of hers. And she did a wonderful job playing the granny. Because, like, even, it's like, in this movie, every character is so creepy. Even the granny was pretty dang creepy. But what creeped me out the most is this end scene when the werewolf knocks her head off and it shatters and it's like made out of plaster.
Who is it? Pick up the notch and walk in. Oh, Jesus. Pick that hell from which you came.
I don't come from hell. I came from the forest.
What have you done with my granddaughter?
Nothing. She didn't want.
Heck was her head made out of plaster when she's been talking the whole time? It just doesn't add up. And this was my favorite awkward movie moment because it didn't have to make sense. It really didn't have to make sense that her head was plaster. I thought it was hilarious. It was unexpected. It was totally awesome. And it wasn't like some weird drawn out thing where you're like waiting, like, okay, movie, we can wait as long as you can. What are you doing? You know, it was just hilarious. And I don't know. I don't think an explanation was necessary for that scene. But thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. And go ahead and post